Hey guys, and welcome back to the Woman in Progress podcast, where I talk about all things self development, mindset, manifestation, health, nutrition, fitness, wellness, and really just being a woman in progress and what it means to be a woman in progress. And if you're a guy listening to this, you're also welcome here. I just mainly, have a lot of women in my audience, so this can still apply to you. But for today's episode, I really wanted to talk about the principles to transforming your body. Okay. And I know this can be a touchy subject for some of us because, maybe for the longest time, we've put so much pressure on ourselves to look a certain way, or, we've maybe just gotten to the place where we started to feel more comfortable in our body and, we're starting to accept, our flaws and the things that make us, unique. Without needing to feel perfect, right? Like we need to be, snatched all the time and have no rolls and no, like cellulite and no, like, and I really want to preface this episode with saying that when I'm talking about, transforming your physique or you becoming your own body goals, this doesn't mean that we're reaching this level of perfection where we no longer have flaws, right? And I want to preface that, when it comes to transforming your body, what I'm really talking about is yes, you becoming your own body goals, right? Where it's your body, your genetics at its healthiest, best potential. Strong, healthy, muscle, lean, and just feeling your best or most confident, right? Not comparing yourself to again what you feel like you should look like, and really just coming at it from a place of just love, right, for yourself and how you want to look for yourself, right? And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's super important to kind of discern the two, um, and really ask ourselves, like, are we actually trying to level up in a way that is empowering us, or are we doing it from a place of not good enough and then I will be good enough once I get to this place, right? Um, so I really want to preface with that first because, if we're going to talk about transforming your physique, transforming your body, we can't not talk about, the intention going into it. I think a lot of us, we might start our fitness journeys from a place of insecurity or not feeling good enough. And so, there is a way where you can be whole as you are now and love who you are and where you are and accept where you are and be able to be comfortable where you are and still want to do better for yourself and still have a vision for how you desire to look and feel in your body, in your skin. Okay. It's also important before I go into this that, you know, when you're going on this health and fitness journey, that it is a journey. It's not a track, right? Like you might have certain goals that, you have a certain track to reach those, right? These short term or long term goals. But in the entirety of your life, right? As long as you have a physical body, you're on a health and wellness and fitness journey. Okay. And so, you know, we one of the things that I know for sure is that when we kind of make the way that we want to look the center of everything for most people, not for everybody, right? Because I do have some clients where they really want to, like, that's their thing, but it's coming from a healthy place. So it's just like a healthy experience versus somebody else where maybe that's like the core of it and it really, really fucks with them, right? So you can have that desire, you can have that goal, obviously you can have that desire, and I think more of us women should allow ourselves to have that desire when it's coming from a healthy place. But it shouldn't, I mean, I don't want to say should or shouldn't, but in my experience as a coach, it should be, you want to have more motivators than just that for you to really play the long game in your journey, because if that's your only motivator, it takes time to really transform and build your physique, right? Especially after like that 1 to 2 years of like newbie gains, taking it to that next level is going to require what I'm going to be talking about in today's podcast. Okay. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, let's get into it. Okay. So first off, I want you to really write down and reflect on, why is this important to you? And on what level of importance is this important? Because if your goal and one of your desires is to transform your body, it's going to take work. It just is. Don't let social media fool you, just like nobody, even if you see like pictures, you don't know the whole story. For the majority of us, it's going to take a couple of years of what I'm going to be talking about in this podcast. And the faster you can accept that, the easier it's going to be for you. And that is why it's important to focus on the character traits and the behaviors that this version of you has, right? In order to maintain not just the physique, but also the lifestyle, the healthy lifestyle, right? A lot of the times I think as women, again, when you're coming at from a healthy place, we can feel like we almost have to choose between living a healthy, balanced lifestyle and building our dream body. And you don't have to choose between the two. You get to have both, but it's not going to be one of those things that happens all at once, right? It's going to be more of like a phasic process where, and this is why within Embody Her in our one-on-one coaching program, we actually take our clients through a 4-phase process broken up into 4 different phases that allow us to kind of rinse and repeat this cycle. So that way we can work on healing your relationship with food, building the habits, changing your behaviors to match that. And then, of course, also following the strategy that is going to allow you to physically also get the results that you want, right? So the first thing this I ask everybody to, qualify them for our program as well is like, why is this important to you? Everybody wants to transform their lives. Everybody wants to transform, their physique in some way, but why is it important to you? And I don't want you to be surface level with this shit. Like, oh, I want to be more confident. Why? Like, what moments in your life do you wish that you had more confidence? Right? Maybe it's when you're getting dressed. Maybe it's during, sexy time with your partner. Maybe it's when you are, just going to a job interview, like whatever the case may be. Maybe it's in your career, right? How does it affect you? And what level of importance is this important? Okay. And then beyond that, like what else is important for you for that? Again, okay. So when it comes to transforming your physique, transforming your life in general, I tell all of my clients, this is the main work we're going to do here together. Okay. This is a process that occurs from the inside out. Okay. A lot of the times when we want to transform our body, what do? We look up on TikTok or Instagram, or we're doing research on, what do I need to eat to build my glutes, and what workout should I do, and what split should I follow, and, what are macros, and all of that stuff is important to learn, but it's not like all of that external stuff is important, but without this work that I'm about to talk about, you will yield most likely the same results over and over again. Or on the flip side, you get those physical results, but it's not enough. There's always something that you feel like you need to change or work on in order to find that level of confidence, when really confidence stems from within, right? And confidence stems from doing the things that you said you would do and showing up for yourself. Confidence stems from getting out of your comfort zone consistently, right? And showing up for yourself, right? Going to the gym when you have anxiety, learning how to track your macros, even though, you have these limiting beliefs around it, or you feel like it might be too much work, right? Working through these things, hiring a coach and investing in, a program that is aligned with you, right? Like these are all things that are outside of your comfort zone. And confidence is found outside of your comfort zone. The more you play it safe, the more you play it small, the more you make excuses, the lower your confidence is going to be, because you just don't believe in yourself. What the fuck do you even have to believe in, right? It's just doing the same shit over and over again. And I've been in that position. So when we want to transform our body, the first principle to transforming is what I call self-mastery. Self-mastery work. And self mastery work is pretty much what it sounds like. It's mastering yourself, it's knowing how to regulate your emotions and regulate your nervous system and heal and uncover your subconscious, unconscious, hello, not aware, not conscious, belief systems that are holding you back, patterns that are keeping you in the same cycles. This is the ability to manage and regulate your emotions, self talk, triggers, and to cope in a healthy way with difficulties, stress, and change. Okay. This is what I call self mastery work. And this is the work that we do with our clients within the Embody Her coaching program. A lot of the times, again, we think that we just need a nutrition plan or a workout plan. But if that's all you needed, it would have worked 4 years ago, right? What needs to change is your internal state. And then everything on your external will feel so much more seamless. Okay. So we have to learn how to become conscious and aware of our self talk, our unconscious thoughts or stories, assumptions we make around life situations, etc., and feel the feelings, cope with them in a way that allows us to let the feelings pass without absorbing and believing all the stories that come along with it. Our thoughts create our reality. This is a science. It is as simple as like the law of thermodynamics. It is just law. Our thoughts create our reality. I could do a whole podcast episode on the science behind it. Okay. But essentially, when they say your inner world creates your outer world, it's true. It just is. Now, a lot of the times what we think about are our conscious thoughts, like, oh, like you have to understand, guys, that we're blind to a lot of these things until we choose to become aware. And this is why having a coach can be so powerful, because I can be that mirror to you guys where I'm asking you the questions, I'm coaching you through it. So we have to learn how to become conscious and aware of our self-talk, our thoughts, our stories, and our beliefs. So no matter what, your reality will always come back to what your dominant belief is about what is capable for you. And a belief is simply a thought that has been repeated over and over and over again. It stems from your language, okay, how you talk about and to yourself and about situations. It also has to do with evidence, right? I have an entire other podcast around this where a lot of the times what happens, we're doing something new, we're trying to get healthy, get fit, get in shape, in a sustainable way, right? And our brain is going to scan for evidence on possibility. And so what happens is that we look into our past and all we see is not being consistent, not being consistent. I've been in the same body my entire life. I've never been able to. And so what we need to start doing is building evidence towards this new reality. And you build evidence towards this new reality, aka your, your health, your lifestyle, whatever that looks like for you guys. Okay. When it's coming from a place of self love and not from a place of like, I'm not good enough. Right. And even like it's okay to have your desires. I'm just going to put that out there. Okay. We have to start building evidence for yourself and for your brain to support these new beliefs that you're putting into place. Because obviously, it's not just about your thoughts. Like, our brain is not that stupid, right? Like, if we're trying to implement these new belief systems, like, I can do it, I'm capable, all of these things, but our actions are not aligning with that over and over and over again, then we're just going to continue to struggle with that. But when we can, one, have an actual strategy and focus on, building brick by brick the habits and focusing on the behaviors and who do I need to be in order to have the desires that I want, the things that I want, then that's where the magic happens. And I posted this on my story the other day where I was talking about like going into 2024, like, yes, I have goals. Like everybody has goals, outcome-based goals, right? But where my focus is, especially because, I have, just like everybody else, that inner perfectionist, that inner critic, that, not good enough feeling that can come up a lot of the times. And in order for me to, really focus on the journey, because like I can't go another year, like I don't want to go another year being in the same position. And obviously I'm growing, but I want to, there's a place that I want to be. And I know that that takes action. And if I keep falling into these fucking patterns of procrastination and avoiding and making excuses and falling into the same patterns, well, that is my job. That's my responsibility to become aware of why I keep falling into these patterns. What are my values, and being in alignment, living in alignment with my values. So, who do you need to be in order to have the things that you want? Because that's what it's really going to come down to. It's not about like, oh, I want these things. It's like, who do I need to be? And so going into 2024, going back to my point, I'm really focusing on the character traits that I need to build in order to make my vision board, whatever, a reality, bring the things to life. Right? It's like when I look at my vision board, I have quotes like consistency over perfection because I'm focusing on consistency. As long as I'm consistent, as long as I'm consistent, and as long as I'm consistent doing the right things, right? Which I'm going to go into next as a principle to transforming, right? Then that's what matters most. Okay. So again, guys, your reality is always going to come back to what your dominant belief is about yourself and your situation. So example, maybe you are like, I could never get like that. Or with my genetics, I'll probably need surgery to get to where I want to be. Or I've never been able to be consistent, whatever. Or I remember for me personally in my fitness journey, I would always have like this thought in the back of my head, like whenever I was consistent for a period of time, like, I wonder how long this is going to last, right? It's just like a thought. And it wasn't until I learned how to become aware of them and then be like, oh, interesting. Where does that thought come from? It comes from my past. And so, how can I rewrite a new story and affirm that day in and day out? And that's how I really moved through that, right? So, you know, without doing the active work, and I'm saying active work, because a lot of y'all be like, oh, I meditate, oh, I already journal, I do the things, but are you doing it consistently enough? And are you doing it in a way that is going to help you shift your belief systems? Like, there's a big difference between journaling about your day and what went on and actually shifting your belief systems and, creating your reality, right? So without doing the active work to shift these belief systems, they will simply just continue to play out unconsciously. Keyword here is unconsciously in your reality. How do you shift belief systems? You shift belief systems simply. Well, I'm going to make it simple for you. It's obviously a little bit deeper than that. And I'll give you all some books and things you can read too. But you shift belief systems by one, becoming aware of them. You can become aware of them through your self-talk. Okay. So turning up the volume of, what thoughts play out in the background when things don't go my way? Or, you know, what do I feel in my body, right? Do I feel anxious? Like maybe you don't have a lot of thoughts that you're really aware of, but you constantly feel anxious, or you constantly feel like this urgency, or you constantly feel like anxious that you're going to like fuck up, or this perfectionism. Like, what is the feeling and what are the thoughts? What are the patterns? Write them down and get curious with, where did you pick this belief up from? And this is the second part, is getting curious from a place of compassion, right? Because some of y'all be getting curious, but you're hella mean to yourself. You're like, well, why, blah, blah, blah. Well, why this about me? And, why am I like this? Why am I like this? Oh my God. And it's like, bro, you got to get curious from a place of love with yourself and not judgment. So instead of being like, oh my God, why am I like this? It's like, no, like, where did I pick this belief up from? Why do I believe this? That's such a simple question you can ask yourself. And you want to write this down. Why do I believe this? Why do I believe this? And you want to approach it with love and compassion. Okay. How does this belief hold me back? Like, literally just ask yourself questions. It's kind of like a stream of consciousness thing. And then from there, you want to choose a new belief system you can get behind, right? A new belief that you want to start playing into your life. Okay? And this isn't as simple as just like writing a new belief and like, okay, I have a new belief. It's a practice. The same way you want to grow your glutes and you need to be on a training program and you need to make sure you're hitting your protein and calories to support that growth and getting in your sleep. It's the same thing with your beliefs. I know it's work, life, you have, work and the gym, like all these things. And now you got to do mindset work. Yeah, girl, if you want to, you want to live the life you want to live. Yeah, approach it from a place of love and curiosity and fun, right? I mean, it's not always fun. Let's just keep it real. But I'll give you an example. Maybe you have a thought that always plays out, and it's like, I've always been this way. My body will always be this way no matter what I do. Okay. To and asking yourself, okay, I'm aware of this. I'm aware that this plays out. Why do I believe this? Because I've always been this way. Okay. What do I want to choose to believe going forward? What would be a more empowering thought, right? And this takes practice, guys. Like a lot of times you're like, I don't know. If you did know, what would it be? Sit with yourself until you come up with something or listen to affirmations to kind of expand your mind around these things. But you could shift that to like, I am choosing a new belief. I'm choosing to be open to change. I am choosing to shift into a new reality, a new paradigm where I get to, build a healthy relationship with food and build healthy habits and focus on who do I need to be in order to have, the lifestyle that I want in a healthy way. And sometimes, we do need a little bit of outside support, and that's also okay, right? So, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an example around how the power of really mastering your thoughts, your beliefs, and regulating your emotions and triggers is going to support you so much in the pursuit of transforming not just your body, but your life, your lifestyle, and living in alignment with what you say is what you want, right? So, we went a little bit into like, subconscious belief systems, and I could do a whole podcast on that. But the other thing as well is going to be, before I go into these examples, is the power of managing and regulating your emotions. Okay. So being able to manage stress, manage your thoughts. I mean, not manage, but guide your thoughts, right? Really being like, oh, that's interesting, and guiding them and choosing better, healthier thoughts for yourself, applying, nervous system regulation, which again, I could do a whole nother podcast on that. But really just breathing, breath work, mindfulness, and really just slowing down your body so that way you can be more conscious of how you want to show up and respond to situations, especially stressful situations, and go from being super reactive to being more responsive, right? So I'll give y'all an example. Client A meal preps her food. She's so excited to crush her week. And all of a sudden, she gets hit with some news that completely throws a wrench in her day. But because she's learned how to become conscious and aware of her thoughts and emotions and her feelings, she chooses to feel her emotions. She feels them even though it feels uncomfortable. She sits with them. She validates herself and her feelings. And then from there, she chooses how she would like to respond. And because of this, the situation itself is still stressful, but she's able to hold the stressful situation without allowing it to completely overwhelm her life and her nervous system, right? This isn't about not feeling and being like positive all the time. It's about regulating and knowing how to manage your emotions, which is a practice. And this is self-mastery, right? Which, by the way, we're going to do for the rest of our lives, right? We never get to that place where we're like, oh my God, I've completely mastered myself. That's your ego, right? Client B is in the same situation. The negative thoughts come up and she isn't aware that she has a choice because she's not conscious. She believes that she's a victim to circumstance, and she's not aware that she has a choice and is in control of where she desires to direct her thoughts. So like a wound that goes uncared for, it continues to bleed and bleed and bleed until she's stuck in a negative spiral and can't even function or show up for herself because she's so down bad and has zero coping skills and doesn't want to feel her feelings. So she turns to food and TV, brushes her feelings under the rug, self-sabotages, and further feels like shit about herself. I'll never get to where I want to be, etc., etc. The story continues. So the difference between these two example clients are the ability to self-regulate and choose to respond from a higher version of self, even though it's fucking hard. Even though our ego wants to be stubborn and wants to be the victim to circumstance, you validate your own feelings because this is not about pushing aside your negative feelings and thoughts because that's just toxic positivity. It's about feeling, validating yourself because your feelings are valid, and then after you have, your temper tantrum, after you have your frustration, after you have your sadness, you choose to respond in a way that serves you and focusing on is within your immediate control. Okay. And whether that takes you a day to get over it, that's fine. It doesn't need to be within 5 minutes, but it's just really about regulating and choosing a higher timeline. This is the work that we do within Embody Her, our 101 health, mindset, and physique transformation program. We coach our clients through difficult situations, support them in reframing their thoughts and stories. And while this may seem like it's an easy thing to do, it's not always. It's a choice and it's a practice. Self mastery is also about belief and learning how to not compromise with yourself and your goals. It's doing what you said you would, which of course builds self trust, self efficacy, and self belief. Mastering ourselves or our ego means understanding that our ego, or the victim, the inner critic, the stubborn, defensive, reactive parts of ourselves, is not the devil. It's just a part of our human psyche and it ain't going nowhere. And its goal is to keep us safe, which usually means the same, even when we're not happy in it long term. So when we can acknowledge these parts of us and then choose to respond from our true authentic self in these difficult situations, which is your intuition, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, that's when our inner state changes. And when our inner state changes, so too does our external reality. And when you can learn how to navigate difficult situations and you can become more aware of your shitty self-talk and your shitty belief systems and even like your fears of failure or even your fears of success, whatever it is, you need to lay it out on the table. That is when you can kind of cross these checkpoints that are required in transforming, not just your body, but your life. Okay, so that is the first principle to transforming your body and your life, and that is self mastery. And if you feel like you just want to outsource that, you would rather be more led in this work, I want to invite you to see if it would be a good fit for our Embody Her 101 coaching program. You can apply with in the description below, and we'll just see if it's a good fit and go from there. Okay. I'm probably going to have to make a part two because this podcast, thing only lets me film for 30 minutes. And I'm at 27 minutes right now. I'm going to kind of give you guys a sneak peek and I'm going to make a part two for sure. And going into principle 2 of transforming your body and your physique, again, in a healthy way, healthy, from a place of love, okay, is going to be strategy. Strategy. If your goal is to lose body fat, build quality muscle tissue, and you have a vision in your head of how you desire to look and feel, and that vision is, of course, healthy for your body type, you need a long term strategy. A lot of the women make the mistake of thinking that just eating healthy and working out and hoping they accidentally like lose body fat and tone up from that you'll see initial changes, of course, because, obviously if you're going from a place of not working out, eating whatever, snacking all day to then doing that, of course, you're going to feel and see some initial changes like dropping water rate, seeing some, new muscle mass. But at some point, after that initial point, you plateau. And when you want to take it from that level to the next level of like really transforming your physique, this requires strategy. It just does. Okay. And a lot of people, I talk to women every single day, and a lot of y'all are consistent. But if your goal, again, I'm speaking to the people where your goal is to take it to the next level. So if your goal is just to be healthy, that's fine. Keep doing what you're doing. But consistency without strategy is the fastest way to go nowhere at all. Yeah, you may be consistent when you're eating quote unquote clean, healthy-ish, you don't eat bad, whatever that looks like. You work out a few times a week, but none of that will take you to the next level without measurable strategy. Okay. So this is why I created our embodied method approach for our clients, Because when we mesh together the self mastery work, the spiritual work, the subconscious healing with actual strategy, oh my God, guys, the results are just priceless. So I'll see you guys in part 2 to dive into the principle 2 of transforming your body. And I'll see y'all in that episode.